Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
I'm Dave.
And I'm John, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we'll challenge one another to discuss movies both new and old with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we're making this a drinking game.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you hear us say anything negative at all, anything negative, we're going to play this sound. That's a penalty. And that means that you have to drink. And we hope that you all drink along with us.
So, pour yourselves a glass. We're going to talk about a movie that makes you appreciate your boss.
Your puss? What'd you say? Your boss. Oh, okay. Cheers.
Jesus. My accent's not that thick.
As Dave just left his job.
How much you've had to drink.
Friends, that was our customary pre-show shot of whiskey to get us going here today, to get us drinking. We're a drinking podcast. We love drinking beer and talking about movies. We saw Renfield today. I think, John, did you see this today or had you seen this previously?
I saw this 2 nights ago.
Oh, so you had time to let it sit, simmer, and saturate.
Yeah.
Dave and I just saw this with our buddy Mark from the Mark and Matt movie show. You might have heard of it. I was on their show last week to talk about Super Mario Brothers, which won the box office again by a lot.
Yep.
By a lot.
Crazy a lot, right? Like the biggest opening of an animated feature of all time, I think.
Yeah.
I think it beat out Finding Dory and it beat out...
I think so. Well, last week was like 100. I'm looking at the article now. Last week was like 100 and was it 200 in the first weekend? No, it did the 5-day week thing. It did the 5-day opening thing. I think it doesn't matter. It's made $680 million worldwide so far. $347 million in North America, and it got the thing that we've been talking about. It got to stay in the big format 2 weeks in a row. This year, it was like Dungeons and Dragons and Shazam and all these movies were back to back to back. John Wick. So that this is the first time that Renfield, which you would think, maybe they would give it some Dolby love at least. Nope. Super Mario Brothers again. And guess what? The theaters made the right choice because Renfield came in third at the box office with $7.5 million, which is officially
fingers on the trigger, tread lightly.
Flop. The movie flops.
What was number 2?
The Pope's Exorcist, which is a movie that looks... fucking stupid.
It's
okay. I'm kidding. I knew Dave was.
It's Russell Crowe doing another accent. I think that's what kept everyone away.
I knew Dave was going to buzz me. It didn't look
because no one's forgiven him for the Thor: Love and Thunder accent yet.
Man, I forgot about that.
Anyway, we're talking about Renfield today, and this movie's up our alley. It's a middling movie. It's got like a 50-something Metacritic. It's got like a 5-something IMDb, and it's got a 50-something Rotten Tomatoes. But the audience score is 80. Guys, we're trying to prop this movie up, and I imagine it's going to be streaming. Somebody out there, maybe it's you, listener, is going to want to hear people talk about Nicolas Cage as fucking Dracula in a movie where Dracula is not the lead.
A role he's always wanted to play.
A role he's always wanted to play. He's always wanted to be Nicholas Hoult's boss in Nicholas Hoult's Star Vehicle, where he plays Dracula.
It's just good that like Nicolas Cage is finally leaning into the vampire rumors because they've been going around for a long time.
I don't think I knew people.
There's a photo taken from like I want to say the 1800s or something, and it looks exactly like Nicolas Cage standing there, and everyone's like, "Yeah, he's a fucking vampire."
They showed him and Nicholas Hoult a picture in one of the interviews during their press run, and Nicholas Hoult was his eyes widened very wide when he was like, "Oh, like it looks exactly like him." I think he looks exactly like Nicolas Cage. Yeah. All right, we're talking about Renfield on the Love of Cinema podcast. If you're new, we're going to try to keep it spoiler free for a couple minutes, maybe 10 minutes or so we can tell you what we think, what we felt, our initial takeaways, nothing stuffy, just shooting from the hip. Shooting from the hip.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to apologize in advance in case any sniffs slipped through the mix because Astoria did that thing over here in New York where it's like, is it spring? Is it spring? Is it spring? Splooge all over the neighborhood. So
Splooge.
I am like...
I just said we're shooting from the hip and you went splooge. Come on.
And so,
Kids
I am... fucking hell, I'm not.
Literally just
that was for me.
Plant seed all over the fucking cars and sidewalk and in the air.
So I'm a wreck.
Stop with the innuendo.
It's natural.
Yeah. People side-eyeing me on the train on the way back from the movie. It's like, that motherfucker got COVID? Or what? No, I've got fucking allergies. Back off.
That motherfucker's going to pull his pants up. I saw that when I saw this movie with... While Dave and I were waiting for Mark outside, a woman came up and asked to take a picture of Dave's shirt, and he's still wearing it, the I'm Rendering shirt, which has made many appearances on the podcast. Guys, we're going to talk about Renfield in a second. New to the podcast, thanks so much. At the end of the episode, we're going to tell you what we've been watching and our recommendations of the week, what you've been watching. That's our segment. We're going to go through some gripes here, so if you're in a rush, go ahead and scoot along a couple minutes, but we got to catch up and get our drink going. John, you want to shout our sponsors out really quick so we can get on with the pod?
Sure. We have a beer sponsor. His name is Carlos Barroso. You can find that gentleman's handle in the show notes at cbarroso.beer, CBARROZO.beer. And the music on this episode and every single episode, as usual, is provided by the artist Dasein. That's Dasein, Dasein. You can find the music available for free on all the usual music platforms. So go download, stream, enjoy yourself. Yeah, man, let's fucking go.
Really quick. What do you guys think? They're going to remake Harry Potter on an HBO. I've said this for fucking a decade that they were going to do this.
It, dude.
Yeah. What do you guys think? You think it's a good idea, or you think you're bummed that it's just more IP?
Let me say this first, because I think we talked about this on the show. Don't you guys remember like an article that came out last year where they said officially we're not making any more Harry Potter IP? Like they wanted to hit pause on it because of all the stuff with JK and they just haven't made as much money from the third Beasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Beasts.
So I thought that they officially announced pause, but this is not long enough for it to have been a pause because I think they're already in production or development of this.
They're in development.
So I was just a little surprised when I heard about this project.
There's no casting, no nothing yet. It just came out of basically nowhere and divided the world in two, I want to say.
Yeah.
Because like some people were like, yeah, faithful adaptations of the books, because like they did skip a bit here and there. I'm on the fence on this one. I it's how I felt when like I heard Super Mario Brothers was coming out. I'm like, they already made it perfectly in the 90s. Why would you do this again right now? So,
so
that's how I feel. Like, yeah.
I think Lord of the Rings, the series, had an enormous impact on it. They saw what Amazon was able to do. So I guess one thing that'll be interesting to watch just from a business perspective, are they going to do what Amazon did and throw everything it takes at it? Money, marketing,
you have
production,
to, right? You
length
have
of
to.
time. Well, I think if they half-ass it this much, it might fail. I mean, that's one reason why those movies were so spectacularly successful. It's because it really brought that world to life. And I don't know. I think with the Beasts,
you can lose people in a season of television. It's happened. We've watched it happen.
You can't, and of course, none of us know what it's about yet. So, right? If they
said it's going to be a more faithful adaptation of the books.
One season per book is what they're doing.
But it says 10 years, so they might break the last couple up again. All I'm saying is you can't introduce Cedric in book 4. You can't say the most popular kid of the school is somebody we have never heard of and has never interacted with Harry, who I thought was the most popular kid in school. You can't do that. So sorry, you're going to have to cast the coolest kid in 4 years now. Sorry, that's on you. You did that. Also, I thought they were going to start doing 3D television and start, getting those sales going. I thought that a show
that came and went.
Well, I don't know. This is big IP. So anyway, we'll talk more TV at the end of this segment. I just wanted to bring that up because it's big news. There's another Game of Thrones prequel, Emmy dump season,
and
it's Max, all crazy,
right? It'll just be on Max. It's no
just
longer
Max.
HBO.
Yeah,
they're trying to get rid of
Max,
HBO,
and Discovery is now at the reins of that.
Fucking dumb.
So,
at least Prime knows it's Amazon Prime, even though it's Prime Video. They still have that cock logo. I mean that arrow. God, that arrow looks more and more like a penis every time. The more and more.
I buzzed him because I knew he was going to follow up.
I don't.
Yeah. Your Rorschachs must be amazing.
You guys have any? Gripes this week?
That's a dick. No, it's a butterfly, Jeff. It's a dick.
Beautiful, black.
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys. Fuck
Hot
both
tub time
of
machine.
you. Both of you.
So
Yeah,
black.
I know. You guys got any gripes?
I don't.
No.
I don't. I mean, it's like some of mine are gross. I don't know.
Are you doing it or not?
Yeah, you're looking at a list. Folks, he's looking at his cards here for his.
Yeah, he's got like an old man list of gripes sitting in front of him.
All right, we're talking about Renfield, so I'll do. My parents are gonna be so upset.
On behalf of Jeff's parents.
Okay, go ahead. You guys are gonna hate me.
I'm excited.
Go
ahead. Why is it that when you poop, you pee also, but not all the pee comes out? You have to pee again in like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody
that doesn't happen.
before?
There's something wrong with you.
No, it's like you go and then like all of a sudden you get up and you're like, I swear that's not everything. And then you have to go back. And then there's more that comes out.
To pee sitting down, Jeff. I think
I don't know if that's really true. Do you think that's true? Is it just a man thing?
You know what you never see?
When I was a
person
kid,
taking a shit while running.
I remember when I was a kid, we had iguanas for a little while, and I was always so jealous and interested because the iguanas would shit and poop at the same time every time, no matter what. And I just never did that naturally. I just never did that. You poop sitting down, you pee standing up.
Wait, did you say you shit and poop at the same time?
No, I don't. I don't usually do that. That's
shit and poop at the same time.
Yeah, it's usually one or the other. Standing up or sitting down.
Shit or poop.
Yeah. So I can't really, I think I know what you're saying, but I think it's because physiologically we were meant to be standing when we're peeing, dude. I think it just does favors for the prostate if you're standing up.
Thanks, man. Your brother went to med school, right? Yo, guys, let's get into our episode.
I basically know because
I don't know if I can after that.
So we're talking about.
Think?
I don't know.
Just stand there with a dazed look on your face.
I've been in theater for 30 something years. Both of these are two-way streets right now. So,
Jeff, did this happen recently?
Every day.
Do you need to call the doctor or?
All right, guys, let's get into our Renfield episode. That's right. We've already given it a look.
You know what this is. Past. You started out there.
I'm drinking.
You opened the door.
Does Nicolas Hoult look like he looks? I can't tell if he looks like he's wearing lipstick. There's something about the effects of his face in his IMDb picture that it's actually very vampiric, I would say. If you're looking at your IMDb there.
Let me get there and see what you're talking about.
So this movie.
Oh my. Those are
right?
red lips, aren't they?
He's definitely more attractive than real life. It's something. All right, anyway, guys, this movie is directed by Chris McKay, who is a name we said recently on here because he gave a story credit to Dungeons and Dragons, an Emmy Award winner for contributing to Robot Chicken. This is written by Ryan Ridley, based on the idea by Robert Kirkman, which is so hilarious. Can you imagine just offering the idea to this movie so well that you get this credit? Can you imagine just being like, how about this? I'll just tell you what should happen, and this is what comes out, and you just get that credit. It's just I love the story credits for these kinds of things.
They were probably drunk somewhere.
I hope they were drunk.
He told him about they made a passing joke, so you get a story credit because someone built on that joke, and you don't want to rip their idea off. That's a good thing.
I mean, I hope the novelist of The Walking Dead was just like, guys, let's just get together, drink a lot, and let's start pitching some Dracula ideas for fucking Nicolas Cage. Just go. This movie stars.
Sorry, I'm not listening to you guys at all. I'm watching that little video that you referenced earlier of Nick Cage. Everybody looking at that picture of him.
Oh, you see it?
Oh my god, dude! If anybody wants to go to Nicolas Hoult's, it's definitely on his Nicolas Hoult's IMDb page. There are interviews with the stars of Renfield, and the interviewer is just showing them a picture of somebody from like the 18 or early 1900s that looks just like Nicolas Cage. And they're just claiming that he's a Dracula time traveler for real. Everybody's reactions are pretty funny. That picture is terrifyingly accurate.
Yes, it is.
So accurate.
Do yourself a favor and look that up.
Jesus Christ, dude.
This is the one where he's wearing like a red coat.
It's black and white, so who fucking knows if it's red?
No. I mean, Nicolas Hoult is wearing red in the video.
Yes, he is. Exactly.
Oh
dude.
my
Him and Nick Cage are together.
Yes, it's black and white. It's from the 1800s.
What did you
I can't believe they even captured the photo. Guys.
Jeff, you remember that picture at the diner of that guy on the roller coaster that looks just like me? With his long hair?
Yeah.
Fucking weird. Picture doppelgangers. What are we talking about?
There's a thing in the Salem Witch Museum as well. It looks exactly like you.
What?
I've got that look. Winters. Yeah. We tend to do well over time in black and white photography.
They made the Starks look like
remember I sent you guys a photo when I was in Salem, and I'm like, what the fuck is John doing up here? And it was
what the fuck is John doing here? God, I would love to have been a part of the Salem witch trials. Oh, she's a witch.
Yeah, you would have been.
She has
fine.
Opinions.
You would have done
She's thinking for herself. I'm a feminist. What are we talking about?
I don't know, but just in case.
Although my favorite is people who assume they would go back in time and they would be the good ones. It's like, nah, no, you wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
You would not.
Fuck those fucking assholes.
Okay, for fuck's sake, can we talk about the movie?
So this movie also, apart from the Knicks, it also stars Awkwafina as Rebecca, the cat. It stars Ben Schwartz as Tedward Lobo.
So fun.
That's right, John Ralphio. It stars Shohreh, Ashdashloo.
You did it.
Francesca Lobo, Ben Schwartz's mom. Brandon Scott Jones as Mark. Adrian Martinez as Chris. Camille Chen. Anybody else recognize? Jenna Cannell. I feel like I do recognize her as Carol. But you get the gist. And I will say, I feel like everybody... I feel like they opened this movie just assuming you know that it's Nicolas Cage playing Dracula in a comedy. I feel like they know that going in, so we can lean into it as much as possible. I'm going to go ahead and give you the IMDb description of what is the essential plot, I guess, and then I'm going to kick it off to you two for your initial takeaways. What you think, what you feel, spoiler free. Here we go. Renfield, Dracula's henchman and inmate at the lunatic asylum for decades. What the fuck? Longs for a life.
Phase. He did go through
Longs
that
for a
phase.
life away from the Count. His various demands. And all of the bloodshed that comes with them. What you guys think? What you feel? Who wants to go first?
I'll take
Dave,
it.
you were feeling pretty fresh, probably. Yeah, you want to?
Well, yeah,
we
we came out with it. Came out of it very recently. I did find they build this as a comedy, but it sort of sits in there. But there's like so much more to it. Like he's not. Cage isn't exactly playing for comedy here, because when he is an asshole. He's an asshole. He's sarcastic, but he's also like this. You can see the evil in there, and I kind of like the way he played it.
Cage?
Yeah. I will tell you, my hats off to the stunt and practical team working together. I really enjoyed their work. All in all, I had fun with this. I had a lot of fun, and I really dug that. Like, have you noticed there's a lot of films coming out lately with like positive themes? Where it's like in this case, it was like he was trying to get out of a toxic relationship as such, and like there's all these positive theme and movies coming out now that everyone's kind of on the other side of their pandemic trauma.
Is this rated? This is rated R, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
We haven't talked in.
How many people's limbs have to get severed?
It wasn't, and then they got to one scene, and it's all right. Fuck it, we're an R.
It's rated R for bloody violence.
I was in a class the other day with some people who are in the distribution and exhibition world, and they were all talking about how we're going to see a resurgence of the R-rated comedy, and this was a good example.
Yeah.
People are kind of ready to. I know what you mean. I appreciate you saying that. Like, it's a positive theme, but it's also in the vehicle of an R-rated comedy.
Yeah,
that we're starting to see things that adults might want to go to the theater and watch together coming out. You know, this is just such a good example of that.
But I feel like the trailer's kind of misidentified it as just a comedy, and it's not. There's a little more in there.
I think that's the best. Like that's the appeal. I feel like that's the market, you know?
Yeah, they're trying to make us laugh to get us in there, but I know what you mean. I don't know if I would say there's like a lot of depth to this. I feel like the theme that is introduced in the voiceover at the beginning is exactly what you get. So it's what you see is what you get kind of thing.
I felt like Cage was going to play this for comedy, and he just doesn't.
What? You don't think so?
I think he did what he usually does, and he went full Cage.
Yeah. And
they used it to their advantage. Sometimes they try to do what you're saying, and they made it seem more like he's serving a role to Nicolas Colt to create an antagonistic, obstacle of the dependent relationship, foil. And they definitely did that sometimes. I really enjoyed the scene where he was like half formed, like that first time you really see him, and he looks really gross. He was just straight up an asshole at that point, but he definitely had some fun. Woo, when he like said his name and he like wooed in the middle of the insatiable.
That was funny.
Like,
that was funny.
There were moments where they let him just have some fun too. But I know what you mean. It wasn't just he screamed, but it wasn't just screaming Nick Cage the entire time.
Yeah.
I am ultimately going to totally agree and applaud. Go have fun, watch this movie, because you're going to have fun watching this movie. There are certain moments, like filmmaking wise, that I feel like are kind of hodgepodgey. 3 editors on the film. wasn't super shocked to see that after the fact. There are certain things that I think are let's fix this and make this tighter and let's do it with montage and voiceover that maybe weren't, I have no idea, but maybe weren't on the page or maybe weren't in the original cut. None of that stuff gets in the way from enjoying the film. Like, I feel like it was whatever they set out to do to make you laugh, to create a vehicle for the mix.
Might have been sneaky fixes, but then it's not enough to detract. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I mean, if what you're looking for is Nick Cage and Nick Hoult within this kind of storyline, a lot of really over the top and fun gore, a lot of practical effects, everything that's in that trailer, you're going to get it. So if you feel like seeing this kind of movie, I don't think you're going to go see this movie and be like, all the funny parts were in the trailer, all the good parts are in the trailer. The whole movie kind of feels like that. Yeah. So I think you're probably going to have fun. If you were enticed by the trailer, I think you will have a good time watching it. How about you, Jeff?
Yeah. I honestly, I completely agree. I feel like if we put our heads together, we could start like, eating the movie's shit and be like, this is what happened there. Why did a couple scenes turn into like an episode of Guiding Light? So I reached over to Mark. I was like, oh, did we just turn into a soap opera? But like, having said that, the kills are what you wanted. It's fun.
That's for talking during the movie.
Not much. Not much.
It's my button push. It's my button.
But yeah, it's fun. And the best, I mean, I do like Nicolas Hoult. He has like a lot to work with.
He's doing great.
The biggest knock that I keep seeing in this movie is the chemistry between Nicolas Hoult and Awkwafina, so we can get to that soon. I think it was just one of those acting things where they just weren't looking at each other a lot. They were doing the thing where they were like taking on so much that they were like, look, they never like connected. Half their scenes they're not looking at each other.
Is it Awkwafina or Awkwafina?
I mean, I don't know. What kind of accent do you want me to have?
Jeff's from Jersey, so he says "ak" when it's supposed to be "awk."
Awkwafina, like, it has two W's. I gotta say Awkwafina. She's from Queens. She's from like 10 miles from where I grew up. Hey, Dave, leave me alone.
Forget about it.
Hey,
I think you're right. I've never been a fan of her in particular in movies because she has, like, it always just felt like her saying lines. But mainly because of a unique delivery style.
Did you feel that way in Shang-Chi? I thought you liked her in Shang-Chi.
I did, but there's definitely bits there
and
where
they had really good chemistry.
And they had great chemistry, but they also had like she had an arc, which was great. But every time she spoke, it was the same delivery that she has for almost anything, like a comedy, any of that stuff. I felt like this one gave us a little more acting out of her though, so that's a plus.
What's that?
She's really good in The Farewell.
The Farewell.
She was pushed to a performance in that, but I know what you mean, and I'm not going to disagree with it. I don't know. I'm not sure what to say because I feel like she's such a comedic presence.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have to wonder if sometimes a director pushed her into the direction of you're the funny, or you're the commentary on this absurdity.
Oh, she was definitely that in Shang-Chi.
There was a lot of coverage in this movie too. I noticed it between Nick Cage and Nick Hoult. I noticed it between Awkwafina and Nick Hoult, where they weren't necessarily sharing a frame all the time. A lot of them were singles. And I just wonder, like, who was on the other side of the camera? Were they there that day? Or was it standing, was it just standing lines and stuff?
I feel like Cage is one of those people that probably wasn't there, especially with the hours that he spent in makeup. I feel like he was...
I don't know, everything I've heard...
he's generous, of course.
He turns up and he'll like stand behind the camera, or beside the camera, and make suggestions and shit. But that's all the indies that he worked on.
I want to believe that's true, but that is kind of a specific example of what I was talking about with lots of editors. Like, it just made me wonder, like, were there masters of these? Were there 2 shots of these? And they were like, it's just not working, and they just fixed it with their close-ups. And I don't know. Sometimes I did feel like I was seeing manipulated scenes and performances. Yeah. Again, I can't say this loud enough. Who fucking cares?
Yeah, this movie's fun.
It didn't really matter. That's not the point of the movie.
It worked.
No, but when you're watching at home, I think there might be some moments in the movie that drag a little bit, but the stuff that works really works. I think. I love the idea. Yeah. I love the Dexter setup. Not to spoil too much about that, but because that wasn't in the trailer, but of like how Nick Hoult, who's the assistant to Dracula, shit. What the fuck is it? The familiar. So it's like, how does he just, because he doesn't want to just kill innocent people. That's a conundrum that he's in. So how does he square that circle? I like that premise. I could have used more of it, obviously, but conflict erupted. I love that it's a tight 93. This could have been longer. There could have been more story. There could have been more backstory. There could have been more family. There could have been more love story. There could have been more. I'm glad that there wasn't. I'm glad that it was tight, and the action sequences are right on the sweet spot. I think the tone of those, anytime there was a kill or some kind of gun, anytime the mob was there with anytime they ate a bug, I feel like the tone was right on there. And it's hard to put all the rest of the pieces together. Sometimes you have the puzzle and you have of the obvious pieces, and then it's like the fucking blue pieces. It's like, I don't know where these ones go. Fuck,
absolutely, neat twist on the bug eating, that's for sure.
Yeah, again, cool. So I like the movie and have fun. If you're watching it at home, not in the theaters, you might not have as good of a time as we had in the theater. But it's fun. You'll still laugh, and you go through those sequences. Those sequences are fucking fun.
This is definitely one, like some of the kills are ones that you will enjoy with a group of friends, because you can like all go at the same time.
And you just need someone like Awkwafina to say, "Did I just see you sever a man's arms with a decorative serving platter?" You're just like, you just need a comedian to give those zinger lines.
That was funny.
Let's go into spoilers and
all right,
let's bring it. We are in spoilers.
So
go and see this movie and come back. Yeah. Sometimes they do come back too. It's great.
Let's keep going with performances for a second, because
I love the guy who ran. Oh, sorry, Ben Schwartz is fun. He's always fun. I mean,
he is always fun. But there were a few moments where, like, I think he worked for me, like, throughout. Like, it was totally fine. But there were a few moments where, he's still a comedic character, but he has to actually sincerely be in a reality that they're creating. And I bought it. And I just remember thinking, like, this is like one of the first times that I've really seen him. Because what's that other movie where he plays like a drug dealer?
Wait, Ben Schwartz was the son, right?
Yeah. What's that other movie where he plays like a legitimate drug dealer? He's like he's a supporting character. Damn it. What's the name of that movie?
I'll find it.
Anyway, and I was just rooting for him. Like, when there were a few times where he was supposed to be sincerely in the reality here, even if a joke was 30 seconds away from him, and I bought it. And it was just nice to see him get to flex a little bit and be inside a story that totally yielded some great moments. Like, I think one of the hardest times I laughed out loud was when Nick Cage put his hand on his shoulder and they both were like, he wasn't sure if he was going to just fucking tear him to pieces or not. The whole tension and the comedy and that negotiation. I would imagine if we were directing that scene, you're like, where can we find the opportunities for you to be scared of him and for you to be trying to actually negotiate business with him?
That's the thing.
They did a really good job with it.
He played Dracula so unpredictable that, like, in that scene, and in particular in the apartment scene, you didn't know which way he was going to go. Like, was he going to get violent, or was he going to, like, just sass you some more?
And let's give credit. I think that was also on the page.
Yeah.
But Nick Cage was a perfect casting for it. Like, I thought he did something. Like, who knew that would work? But it did work.
Chen, are you thinking of the movie Music, Sia's movie that we all saw together, where he has the cornrows?
Yeah. Yes, dude.
Nobody else is going to get that reference because nobody else saw that movie.
Thank you so much. Nobody else is going to get that. But I remember thinking, like, he's acting.
I'm not even buzzing you saying that, because that movie was terrible.
Okay, go ahead and buzz yourself. But no, I completely agree about you, because get back to Awkwafina. You shoot up the whole restaurant and stuff, and this might sound lame to people, but Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie do this so well. Of like, how do you get back to the quote unquote reality as if you didn't just blow everything up? How do you have a conversation, obviously aware that just happened, but you can't turn it into Scarface, otherwise there goes all the tone. And I with that scene, it was like they threw it all away, you know what I mean? Like, the tension was gone and it was too easy. But with Ben Schwartz, I feel like he has that sweet spot, and Nick Hoult was playing with it a little bit. Ben Schwartz has this sweet spot where he's able to play all of those levels just so seamlessly in and out, which I guess is acting. I don't know if he could have been the lead of a 2-hour movie where he had to do that, but as a supporting character like that,
I mean, he was fairly constant throughout. Like, he was playing the bumbling fool, he was the foil, he was all of the things where you're like, this guy's a fucking dickhead, this guy's a fucking loser. And then on a dime, he pivots and becomes a threatening villain.
Yeah, I just need 10 minutes. I'll take all night. I'll take the whole night. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I'll take all night. Yeah. I mean, God, he is funny as fuck. He also has my favorite kill for sure. I don't know who had the idea to go to an X-ray.
Oh yeah. I only saw the stuff coming out of his broken butthole, like all the bones.
And then, it comes out the mouth and the ass. I mean,
but what was his line?
Shattering.
What was his line just before that? Because it led into that.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Whatever it was, set up that perfectly. That kill.
Jeff, you are tapping into something, though, that I do want to point out, which maybe is my only... I'm ready to forgive kind of everything else, but this is such an obvious choice that was going to impact the rest of the movie that I do just want to call it out, just because I think I'm curious why they chose to go this way. When Nick Hoult does say, he confesses who he is and the whole reality of him and Nick Cage and Dracula to Awkwafina, she just accepts it. And I was like, you have Awkwafina sitting here. She's brilliant with cynicism and sarcasm. Like, that's kind of one of her brands. And I was like, you're missing an opportunity for her to be like, what? And for the scene to kind of develop into this whole, how is she possibly ever going to believe this? And let them really play the comedy out. Nick Holt's funny as fuck too,
I thought
folks.
she was. I thought she was.
He's a funny person.
Because she told him
she literally her response.
She told him he was crazy.
Her response to that line was, her response to the line was she asked a question about Dracula. Like she just was ready to learn more. I thought she was
I thought she was deflecting. I thought she didn't believe him or something.
Yeah, her first response kind of led to me that she was not buying into this until that fight happened.
I didn't get that at all. Maybe I don't know.
Well, regardless, I never saw the turn.
That one line was like blink and you'll miss it. It was so fast. So that could still be a fault there. Like, but. Yeah,
anyway, they were keeping it moving.
Let's take it back to the previous one, then the fight scene where she first meets him at the restaurant.
Yeah,
and her line that's in the trailer. Did you just cut that guy's arms off with a serving tray? I think they may have missed an opportunity for her to have been a little bit more suspect of Nick Hoult, and then for him to have earned that trust a little bit more. It may
she let him leave. That's on the page. Why did he leave that restaurant? She's a cop. You got to stay. Whoa! I need you to stay for a couple minutes, people.
Yeah, I guess I could have appreciated if you're going to establish their relationship that way. Then why do we even need the confession, or for them to have gone further with her being like, I don't know, just to lean into the fact that like the absurdity doesn't matter to her, like nothing about that. There are no consequences like that in this world. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Who cares? Jeff, you mentioned it earlier. The group leader.
Oh, it was so funny. And what's so funny too is that half of his lines were in the trailer, and they were even funnier in the movie, even though I'd already seen all of them before. Yeah. But he goes, "What? That's so weird. Why did you phrase it like that?" It's so good. And then of course at the end when they're all back, and it's just, I mean, come on, it's so ridiculous that they're all back. But just that the way he did it was just right on the sweet spot. He did that audition.
There was one thing missing from that scene, and I'll call him out for it. Carol should have been able to finish her story.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking
thought they were going to give us the end of credits. Like,
we say the whole time. Come on, Carol. I mean, that line. And also, you know what they fucked up? I couldn't see her name tag when she said like, "Oh, because we all hate Carol. Don't worry, I do too." But I didn't see the Carol name tag, so honestly, I was kind of like, I think that's Carol, but I wish that was in the frame, but that's petty. I guess.
Your head just a little bit about it. Yeah, no, yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I wish you're right, Dave. You're 100% right.
Yeah,
Carol.
I don't know if
I hate her too. That's such a funny line.
It's also, by the way, such a sad line.
To my Ted Lasso fans, one of my favorite jokes of this whole season is a codependent joke. It's Beard, and he says, I forget who he's dating. Let's say he's dating Martha. I forget who he's dating, and he goes, "Oh, I'm going to a Codependence Anonymous meeting tonight." And they go, "What?" And he goes, "Martha's making me go." That was in Ted Lasso this year, and then we're at this movie about codependence and stuff. I was like, oh, this is like the new frontier of shit. Yeah. Well, then then they go to the restaurant later, and we see them at the like after party or whatever.
She's like, "You're being really clingy," when she pushes him away when they're like making out. Yeah. I totally agree.
Dude, I want to throw out the fight scenes in this because like it was. I mentioned it briefly before, like the fight. Like the stunt teams and the practical effects people working well together. But there were so many good arm rips and shit like that happened in this movie that just sold perfectly. Yeah. Even though like the blood is almost orange, it's like, fuck it, you know, what are you going to do? I once did that arm rip in a live show Like we set that up, and like this guy got his arm chainsawed off live in a show. It was a horror show, but it is very fucking hard to sell, even on camera, and they nailed it every time.
Yeah,
What's the name of that? The Knight and Monty Python.
The Black Knight.
The Black Knight.
The Black Knight.
It's just a flesh wound.
But a flesh wound. Yeah.
Come back here, you bastard! I'll bite your legs off.
When they rip the arm, I think it's, I don't know how many, they rip a lot of arms off in this movie, but the one at the end in that in like the square of that hotel
the
apartment complex, and they take the limbs and he throws it, and you can tell that for whatever reason the bone of the arm impales somebody to death, and then they have to like yank it back out. Like, it's so ridiculous. Who even thought of that? And the fact that could work and get pulled off is so stupid and so funny.
My second favorite death is in the courtyard scene when they tear the guy's face off.
Oh yeah,
He's like, oh! I mean,
straight up like Terminator.
I was having so much fucking fun during that fight scene. I feel like the people in front of me got nervous. So it was like, I was laughing. I was like, yes, it was great.
it was hilarious.
This is what I came for.
Anytime I see a throat rip, I think of MacGruber, the movie. Yeah, you got a good throat rip in there.
I think of Roadhouse.
Okay, yeah, we saw that. Go through our feed, people. We talked about Roadhouse.
The remake's coming out soon.
I love the bodies, the pile of bodies at the end. You know, when he jumps and he like, reaches out to her.
Epic. They could have shortchanged that, and they just didn't.
I kind of like her little speech. I thought she did that, perfectly fine. That little like, this is my worst then.
Yeah.
Another trailer moment where you're just like, all right,
this is my I've had worse. Yeah.
But they didn't show you what it was. All they showed you was the fight. But they could have scrimped on the level of bodies on the ground, and they just didn't scrimp at all. They went over the top completely.
You know what I loved? I love the choice that the mob family lives in the most fucking obvious public place in the city.
Yeah, is that like a courthouse?
They don't even try to hide.
New Orleans courthouse or something.
Yeah, it's as big as like the old New York postal office, like right next to Penn Station, like huge. You go up like the rocky steps,
gold fucking pillars, and
they have the Escalades parked right out front. It's so obvious.
I don't know if
fuck you, Kyle.
Fuck you, Kyle. Yeah, I don't know if Chris McKay or whoever somebody is like from New Orleans, but this is definitely like a New Orleans movie, right? Like they definitely use that location and refer to a lot of places.
Yeah, I wonder how New Orleans thinks they keep calling it a corrupt city.
A corrupt city, yeah. I did wonder another good example of like who really cares? Like it doesn't really matter, but they do a good job of like laying the groundwork that he has a small part of Dracula's power.
Yeah.
And I know he eats a lot of bugs at the end, but a little bit of me was like, how is he possibly kicking a fully powered Dracula's ass? With the punches at the end. There was a little bit of me that was like,
I thought
we were about to see that part in the fight scene where Nick Cage just smiles and starts tearing. I thought Renfield was going to get like dismembered at one point. I was like, we've established that he can get his guts spilled. So how far are they going to take his body apart in the final fight? I thought they were really going to lean into that, but didn't really happen.
I like the final thing. I thought we were going to need more Christianity, not to, The Exorcist.
Circle of cocaine.
That was fine. And apparently she said the incantations in, 15 seconds.
I love that she got them off
fine,
like fucking Wiccan Tumblr.
Sure. The classic. Yeah. Tumblr throwback. When was the last time you heard anybody talk about Tumblr?
When Twitter was being bought, a lot of people talked about Tumblr.
Okay.
Tumblr was like, hey, look, we've relaxed our standards. You can post porn here now.
Wait, so when he
happened.
Wiccan spells and porn.
When Nicholas Hoult broke the first circle by sliding the shoe, he just broke the line of powder. That's what he did. So the second... So the fact that it was a priest, that had little to do with the incantation. It was way more about the fact that they just had the powder and he said the Latin words. So it didn't matter.
And
he wasn't giving an
was
exorcist.
Definitely, what's his name, right? The Dracula hunter.
I don't know if it was Van Helsing.
Van Helsing. It's got to go. Come on, that was totally Van Helsing, right? He's got the crossbow and shit. That was definitely Van Helsing.
While we're on it, let's talk about the shit they recreated. Like
that was my favorite part of the whole
when they
movie.
went back.
They
recreated the eras of Dracula. Yeah,
I mean, they got into it. They showed Nicolas Cage's Dracula right away. Like in the trailer, they linger, but they're like, everybody's going to see this trailer. Everybody knows.
For a second there, I'm like, oh, they're just showing the movie. And I was like, and then the camera cut in, and it was Nicolas Cage, and I'm like, fuck, that was good.
Yeah,
like I think I said that out loud. Yeah,
sped up time frame. Yeah, no, it looked really good. I was kind of, again, I'm not saying I genuinely wish they would have done it, but it was so successful that I was kind of hoping they were going to cut back to some other like things that happened throughout history, just because that filmmaking, that joke worked so well for me. It was so compelling. I was so entertained by it. I wasn't just waiting for a joke, or I thought that was like, I believed it, you know? Like, I don't know. I thought that was
this is effective. A hard one to sell, and they sold it brilliantly.
Yeah. The person was just billed as Vampire Hunter.
Yeah. I don't think it was Van Helsing.
Damn! They just couldn't afford the name because it was totally Van Helsing.
Van Helsing. Well, they had homage lines like the "I don't drink wine" is from the Coppola Dracula. Like they had homages to all the previous Draculas in there.
I don't know if I've seen them all. I've definitely seen Langella and Christopher Lee, and I've seen Coppola. I like the Langella. I think I like Langella.
Which one is shit?
Gary Oldman?
The Thing, Escape from New York, John Carpenter. Which one is his? Who plays him in that? Do you know what I'm talking about? John Carpenter's Dracula?
No, I didn't know John Carpenter did it.
Can you hear me typing?
Yes, we can.
Go ahead. Type it out.
Right
you got to do it.
John is secretly looking something up. Everyone of virtue is.
James Woods plays the vampire hunter.
Oh no, okay, that is not Dracula at all. That's vampires, and that is a fucking classic. That movie. I watched that. I watched that when I had COVID. Like I like that movie so much. Dude. Yeah.
John Carpenter, dude, he fucking kills it.
Yes.
Coppola's is famous. And I don't know if you guys got there in time, but did you see the trailer for another
another Dracula
Dracula movie?
That's the thing.
With
That
Davos
story's
Seaworth
never been done. Because
which is crazy because
in Dracula he books passage to get from Transylvania to London, and the ship turns up with everyone dead on board, and they never tell the story.
And in Anne Rice's I think it was interview.
We're in spoilers.
Louis refers to Louis, the character Louis refers to booking passage from Paris to New Orleans, and how they had to survive on a few guests and some rats, and just how difficult that was. I think
one of the books actually goes into it. Not the movie doesn't, but the book does. Because Anne Rice likes to tell all the fucking story.
Good idea. I think in the trailer, it looks like they might be giving away a little bit too much of his form and stuff, but I like the idea of who's killing all these people. There's evil on the boat. And Jeff, what's that dude's name from Game of Thrones? What's that?
His name is Davos Seaworth.
God, fucking great dude.
I don't know his actual name. I forget his actual name, but how funny is it that in Game of Thrones, he is a ship captain. He's an onion smuggler, and he hates dark magic. And now here he is. He's leading a ship. Yeah. And he says there's dark magic everywhere.
Don't overthink the casting. Yeah, I
think he has the same accent, the same beard, and everything. He probably has a son who's going to die too. You know, chop his fingers off. Let's go.
I want to call out what's her name too, Shohreh, who plays the Lobos crime boss.
Yeah, matriarch.
Ben Schwartz's mom. Yeah, I really liked her in 24. That was probably where I thought about.
If you want to see her really nail it, she's a side character in The Expanse. She's a politician.
Oh, cool, dude.
And she is a force to be fucking reckoned with in that series. She's amazing.
Powerful voice.
One of my favorite characters.
She's one of those actors that I feel like any words that escape her mouth are going to be just believable. She's just got like that kind of like deep, grounded, graveled,
raspy.
Presence. Yeah. And I thought it was a weird casting choice for this one, but I liked it. I liked that she was so, without having to play it up over the top at all, she clearly had status over the son character, Ben Schwartz's character.
She brings that on day one. That's not even acting. That's just something.
What was her kill? How did she die in this one?
She was escaping. Was it the bats? Was it just the bats?
I don't think she died.
Did she?
I don't think. Yeah, I was hoping you guys would clarify, but I don't remember if she died.
Yeah, I don't think she did.
She was escaping. She was running away.
Yeah, she's coming back. She's gonna collect the cement ice cubes from the sewer and bring old boy back to life. Did you guys enjoy that sequence where they kind of
I really did
fuck him up? And did you want him to go further? Did you think it was too much? I thought it was a great idea, and I liked the return of the voiceover just to be like, in case you're wondering what we're doing, we don't actually know how to kill him, and I've seen him come back from some pretty rough stuff.
There's been so many stories, so we just did them all.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
I laughed out loud at that, to be honest, because like I'm a huge fan of like vampire mythology and stuff. I've read everything. I love the Dracula story a lot. So like when they went into the full fucking extremes of killing him, it's like, yeah, we didn't know which one would actually work, so we did them all. And I'm like, I laughed out loud in the theater.
Dave, did you watch? Sorry, but this IP is just too much fun. They all reference each other. So did you watch the series Interview with Vampire? I didn't watch it at all.
Yes, I did. Out recently? Yes.
Well, is it good? Because I love those books.
It is. It's not fast paced, but oh my god, it's good. Okay. Yeah. It's as fast paced as an Anne Rice book. So it's a faithful adaptation.
There you go. Nice and lengthy.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what, the Lestat in that is charismatic as fuck. Good. Like I highly recommend.
He is Lestat is my favorite vampire in the history of all vampire things. I feel like that character.
Yeah, they're getting a season 2, so we'll see how that goes.
Bella Francesca is seen being arrested in Renfield's ending.
Okay. Oh yeah.
What?
Yes.
Who arrests her?
The FBI, I think.
Is the cops that she finally, or the FBI?
Yeah, I think it was the FBI.
What did you think of that? What did you think of that weird addition?
That was almost a non-event.
I
think it was unnecessary to have the FBI in there. But is it just for the pen, or is it just for the backstory? Like, is it more backstory? Is it more pen?
The stakes at the very end, so that she would have a reason to go in and
she needed a resolve that matched his.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like she had to sort her issues out as he sorted his issues out, because I feel like that was going to continue. So we needed something for her to overcome.
We didn't even need to know she had a sister. You know, it didn't have to be a cop. It could have just been like, we have your sister, and it's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice to make the addition, but then not flesh out their relationship.
Did you watch the end credits?
It was cool.
Because there was a lot of stuff in the end credits that they shot but didn't include, like including the whole fucking dance number from the look of it. But basically, I think there might have been more that they cut out of this for time and to make it punchy. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Like the true end credits or like the initial credits?
Well, we watched it right to the end. We watched it right to the end.
Yeah, we just stayed.
I left when the crawl began.
Okay.
So they showed more footage from the movie?
Yeah, there was a little bit more footage underneath that, yeah.
Oh,
and it finished with a hold on Nicolas Cage and the original Dracula pan out, like the original Dracula pull out that they do. And I literally said, "Oh my god!" out loud in the theater. It was so spot on.
Yeah,
like it was the full Lugosi like pull out.
So let's answer the question that I think all the Love of Cinema listeners are waiting for: is Nick Cage back?
I mean, he's had a couple good movies.
Nick Cage never left.
He's had a few. He had Pig. They put him back on the map for people who took to take him seriously. He had
Mandy,
massive talent, weight of massive talent to make us be like, okay. And he's also kind of making fun of himself, and we're enjoying that. Kind of the way that Tom Cruise did with Tropic Thunder.
Oh yeah.
And now he has this where he's legitimately cast in a role, and he's doing Nick Cage's thing. But the movie isn't about making fun of Nick Cage. It's about Renfield.
He's also got
Nick Cage is just in it,
because we touched on Willy's Wonderland as well. At one point we reviewed that, and those indie films that probably would not have seen the light of day if his name wasn't associated with it. And he does that to support indie film as well. Like, so
I'm not saying I don't
also to pay the bills.
Nick Cage, but is he back in the industry's good graces? Do you think this was one of his official? Nick Cage is back again. Like we've enjoyed him in things when he was not necessarily in that same place, but I feel like I feel like this may have just solidified it. I feel like
if he doesn't get some fucking phone calls
these...
after this, I'll be very surprised and disappointed in the industry, to be honest.
And just so you know, they are making, or I've heard they're making, I know it's at least been in development, National Treasure 3. So I think that might be the fucking...
Because I know they made the series without him.
Must be funny.
We are due for a 3. We need a 3. The world needs a 3. If Indy's not going to keep going...
I watched 1 and 2 like a couple weeks ago. Did I tell you guys that?
Yeah, you said it.
What you've been watching?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. So I think if that happens, like, he's truly back. But I'm excited. I feel like he's been gone for too long, and he hasn't actually been gone. But for some reason, he wasn't getting cast into big movies.
Yeah,
and I think
he was making his own movies.
Brought him back.
Go on Netflix.
Massive Talent did really well. This is probably going to do well enough. Jeff, what were the numbers on this one?
Massive Talent is now a meme on
7.7
TikTok.
million.
Everyone enjoyed TikTok before it gets banned by the rest of the country.
That's right. 7.7 million, which is, I mean, that's the marketing was definitely more than that. I saw that trailer a lot.
I feel like Montana banned TikTok and everyone, like, TikTok was like, so?
Wait, did Montana actually ban TikTok?
Yeah. I think it was Montana.
John, shit, I forget if it was Italy or France, ban ChatGPT.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
I want to say France. No, I want to say Italy. One of them banned it, yeah.
Really scary. That shit so frightens me. All right, guys. Renfield was fun.
Yes.
All right.
If you're looking for that R-rated comedy, if you want to laugh, if you want to see some gore, it's not a perfect movie, but it's a good time in the theater, and I think it's a good time at home probably as well. I think you'll enjoy watching it at home.
Yeah,
I agree. All right, let's get into our final segment, what you've been watching, where we give you our recommendations of the week. There's some other TV news. I mean, it's Emmy dump season. All the shit, all the news story, everything.
Yeah.
The TV is back. Well, it's always around, but like, God, all these fucking shows, they're trying to get their... this is the time. The next month is when, all the Emmy shows have to premiere if they want consideration. What have you guys been watching? Have you been watching any of them? I have not seen Succession.
I hope it does.
I hope it does too. I have not seen Succession, but also... fucking who cares? Dave, I'd like to start with you. What have you been watching?
Well, as usual, I've been watching Piccard, and we just got to the penultimate episode, and they revealed what's been going on in the whole season. And I was like, fucking what? Like, it's way more epic. And then I'm like, holy fuck, how are they going to get out of this? So it's a really good season. They gave us a heartfelt moment. I was at Easter with the family last week, and one of my uncles asked me, it's like, well, what do you think they can do from here? I'm like, oh, well, the only thing they've got left is to do this. And bugger me if they didn't do exactly that. So yes, I called the penultimate ending. We'll see what happens. It's the actual ending. That's this week. And I watched Push. I was at a film funding event for someone watching. They were trying to get their film off the ground for a feature. They made a short. And I was talking to someone. And I found out a mutual friend of ours had written Push. And I was like, shit, okay, so I'll give this... I hadn't given it a watch. I'll give it a watch. And it's fucking Chris Evans, Dakota Fanning. Like, it's a good film. It's basically...
Who wrote it?
David Baller wrote it.
Oh, cool.
And, he's... it's a really, really good film. I enjoyed it. Like... It's one of those.
Is this a Netflix film?
This was years ago. But it was like, it's one of those government conspiracy ones where they construct, like, they make like super people and then can't control them, so they hunt them, and that sort of thing. Like, they get out and stuff. It's I love how you said that as that's like a traditional structure. It is.
Yeah, it's just funny. Yeah. The way you said it, I guess that is.
Firestarter started it.
Yeah.
And we've been going since then.
The super soldier kind of idea. Yeah. That's good, man.
Yeah. No, nice. I really enjoyed it, actually. It's like
Shimon Holmes, you're our guy.
It. Push.
Excellent. I watched I will shout this out because it was funny and I had a really good time watching it. I definitely have not seen I'm not a Bollywood aficionado by any means. I've seen some movies from India for sure, but I had to watch this movie in class and I had a great time. It's called Om Shanti Om. Very funny, kind of poking fun at the whole Bollywood culture and some traditional story arcs from older Bollywood films. But it's a giant 2-hour, 42-minute, jam-packed with some comedy, a lot of melodramatic action and really, really great catchy songs. If anybody wants to have a good time and they like India cinema, I think you would really enjoy that one.
Nice.
2007. It did very, very well. So people who know Indian cinema probably already know it, but
it is definitely getting an upsurgence here in the US. Like there are actually like there's screenings all through AMC for it.
Always. I remember when I was living in Astoria, like there were at least one or two all the time.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of them now.
That Regal that were there.
I'll tell you as well, anyone who's listening in Australia, if you need film gear, the Indian film industry is the best one to fucking buy from because their gear is good and it's cheap. It's like a fucking unicorn, dude. Yeah, and it ships to Australia. It ships to Australia for almost free. Like I got a full jib arm and a Steadicam sitting there because I can't get them over here because it's going to cost like $1 million. But I got them in Australia, no problem at all. So yeah, if anyone's looking to start up filmmaking, you need some gear. Have a look at the Indian film industry.
Their industry, just very quickly, their industry is so unique because since cinema began, it's one of the only regions in the world that has not needed any distribution from Hollywood to be its own success.
Yeah.
Like they have been very inclusive with Europe kind of does depend on their own stuff, but also some of their cinemas stand on Hollywood's films coming to town and, you know, being able to draw some audiences as well. Cinema has always, India has always done its own thing. 2 different regions, apparently. Anyway, that was cool. And I'm still going with Better Call Saul, and god damn it, it's just getting better and better and better.
Such a dumb miss by me.
It's on my resume list.
It's so good. It's so good. It's so refreshing. I just haven't enjoyed watching a series that much in years. So I'm having a great time. So character driven. Anyway, Jeff.
I'm catching up. I watched. I actually was like on a plane and I downloaded all these episodes of TV and then I was next to somebody I knew and we just talked the whole time.
Were there motherfucking snakes on the motherfucking plane?
I was ready to catch up. All right, yeah. But anyway, I caught up on Ted Lasso. I'm still behind on Succession, and apparently this past week was the best episode of television that's ever been had in television.
That's what I heard.
So much so that everybody decided to go ahead and spoil the fuck out of the whole thing.
Elizabeth and I are officially. I'm gonna wait till it's over, and I just want to do the whole thing at once. I'm not watching.
Have you avoided a spoiler? Because I didn't. People have spoiled this.
I have avoided it.
I've avoided it
on
as
social
well.
media. So
oh my god. Well, I was listening to a podcast and fucker spoiled it like crazy. I was making a joke out of it. I said exactly what I was like based on everything I've been listening. I was like, well, that is the spoiler.
Well, that podcast's off the list.
Well, I guess there's not just one. Like, and it doesn't matter. What the fuck? I'm still catching up on Succession. Mrs. Baisel's back. Got started with that.
Yeah,
good so far.
back.
Caught up
They
on.
lost me after season 1.
All right, Dave. You don't need to be
after 1.
Yeah, there was some good stuff after that.
I mean, I'm not saying it was bad. It was just so much other stuff came out and it took so long to get to season 2. It was
Damn it!
It's so charming. It's such a charming one.
And Mandalorian. Last week's people complained about, but this one is the one where they go back to Mandalore, and now we're back. This most recent one is higher on the list. But
go
the Jack
fuck
Black
yourself. That one was awesome. Oh yeah. Well, that's.
No,
but this most recent one's good.
With Chris the other night. I need to catch up. He was like talking about the show, and I was like, back. I'm so sorry. Still haven't. I'll watch the first episode, but I don't think I've gone any further.
Well, so it's you. You're to blame.
Well, you can quote me. It's fucking awesome. I'm enjoying it.
Totally this one was cool. I had a good time. So anyway, there you go. I don't think I've seen any other movies. The last week was busy because I was on the other podcast. I saw Super Mario Brothers. It was fun enough. Take your kids to see it. And I guess that's it.
All right.
We got a couple choices for next week, guys. I think we've made our choice, but you have to follow the feeds to see. People, I can't wait to talk about movies again next week. See you soon, film fans. Did we get it under an hour?
Yeah.
With the music, though?
Yeah. We're at 57.
Wow. Who are we?